Hi, I'm Leisha Grabinski. This is Saskatchewan. I'm standing at the back of a meeting room at a hotel in downtown Saskatoon. It is packed full of people. This is XCamp. It's a conference meant for marketing experts, designers, website creators, as they try to serve the next generation of customers. There are people here who work for the provincial government, Tourism Saskatchewan, SGI, SaskTel, and more. Think of all the grown-up things you have to do in a day, a week, or a month, and someone connected to that task is probably here. People are dressed in casual clothes, and they chat like they're out for beers. I'm trying to get a read on people's ages. There are some salt and pepper beards. A woman reaches for her reading glasses. They aren't old, but they aren't young either.
We're out there designing things for the coolest people on the planet. But then you open up socials and you're like, what is that word? What does this mean? What's going on?
Not long ago, everyone in this room was focused on millennials, what they wanted, how they shopped. There was a lot of pink at that time, and every brand seemed to have a photo wall for selfies. But just as skinny jeans and side parts were deemed not cool anymore, marketers began to focus on a new generation, Gen Z.
They are going to be applying for student loans, getting phone plans, and applying for credit cards, as well as investing.
The organizers talk about how hard this generation is to get. They don't answer phone calls or reply to emails. This is why it's a tricky generation to get to know and to keep as customers.
But to start off at table one, we have Noah and Ifra.
2 by 2, people aged 15 to 20 enter the conference room. A lot of them have backpacks and are wearing hoodies and wide-leg jeans. They take a seat at the large round tables.
Table number 2, we have Basine and Aaliyah.
The older people are given 20 minutes to ask Gen Z anything to help them figure out how to reach this new generation of consumers. And so I sneak my microphone into the conversations.
I'm an influencer, so I do YouTube and TikTok, and I do it through virtual reality gaming. I'll show you my channel.
We just clicked a bunch of things.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. So it's New Tour the Monkey. So I do virtual reality games, and right now I'm focusing on a game called Animal Company in VR. So on this channel I have 123,000.
Like as you get older and you're moving down to your parents' house and you're looking to figure out how to do some of those grown-up things, where are you going? Are you like Googling it? Is it going to come to you versus an ad? Like how are you finding out about like how to sign up for utilities, how to get a loan, how are you investing your money, that type of thing?
A lot of it will be through my dad and connections that I have. Last resort would probably be searching it up. Yeah, after that.
That's good to know. Okay.
Do you mind if I eavesdrop?
No, yeah.
Where do you consume most of your advertising? When you see something and you think, oh, I like that, or that's pretty, or I like that, how is that being presented to you? Where are you accessing that advertising?
Most of the advertisements I'd see would probably be Instagram. If it's like, oh, some sort of university is like, it's admissions prep or whatever, things like that. Most come in the form of reels or sometimes it's like an eye-catching design that, it's like, oh, what was that? I should stop to see. Generally, you can't have a caption that's too long or something that really takes a lot of time to read. I think advertising that we consume needs to be very kind of like on that split second you see it and you look at it. It needs to be kind of right there.
Do you use TikTok?
Oh, no, I don't use TikTok. I think it's kind of waning a bit among my friends. Definitely grade 8 and 9, everyone was on TikTok. And now it's sort of, I guess, kind of less it's more out of the spotlight than it was before.
Okay, this is your 10-minute warning. So you ready?
With all generations at all times, there become stereotypes. Some of them are generated by people in this room who are trying to figure them out. Some are comedic satire. Are there any stereotypes or kind of generalities about your generation that you're seeing now that you're like, that's not us, that's not true?
So coming from personally my dad, I think my dad thinks that our generation is very cancel culture, which I partially agree with. I think cancel culture is a real thing in the world, but I guess stereotypes are all generalizations of people. But I think there's a good chunk of our generation that's trying not to be that way and like more so understand the whole story instead of just being like, you're canceled for this one thing and you should never be able to do anything else in your career sort of thing. But every time my dad sees something like that on the internet, he'll be like, your generation is so stupid and why do they cancel people all the time? But then that like sparks conversation between us, right? Because I am of my generation and I kind of defend it in a way.
Are you okay if I eavesdrop?
Yeah.
About your generation is that you don't socialize with each other as much as previous generations, that you're much more on your phone, that you're not going out necessarily like partying, for lack of a better word, and getting out of your house and seeing each other. Does that ring true, or is that sort of like a overgeneralization?
I think generally, like, it might be a little bit of an overgeneralization. I think there is some of our population that is like that. There's some people that are very like, I'll stay at home, I won't go out, I won't talk to very many people in a day unless I have to. You're right, it's like in the waiting room, a lot of people are just on their phones, right? It's kind of something that we do to pass time instead of just conversing with people or playing outside. That's a huge thing I hear from older people or my parents, is that like no one plays outside really, but I think it is quite dependent on what you value, I guess, in your relationships and stuff like that. But
Like, what's something that you'd want to tell us?
Do you mind if I eavesdrop a little bit?
Yeah, of course. To tell youth out there today, well, there's no such thing as being too young and being too inexperienced, because you can always find that out there. I think that's what's really important for today.
Have you learned a lot?
I have learned a lot.
What's the most surprising thing that's come up?
Just how thoughtful the youth are, and I think it's important to understand that our youth have a bit of hope, I think, is kind of like the theme. And so if they're hopeful, that means that we can create a better experience for them as they grow up in this society and kind of grow. So I think that's something that's beneficial.
It's good. You're not leaving with despair.
Yeah, exactly.
Because sometimes I think people are worried, young people just feel despair when they think of the future, but not you, hey?
It's out there, I'd say despair is definitely one of the common themes of today, but I think having that despair is also a lesson to what we can do in the future.
Okay, fine, here.
That's great. So why does it matter what Gen Z says or does? Emily Schmidt is at one of the tables, listening closely. She's an applied behavioral scientist. That's a fancy way of saying her job is to help companies understand human habits and how they shift over time. And so her eyes are on the next generation of consumers.
So with Gen Z, where we have, social media, Netflix, those kind of things that serve up really relevant content instantaneously, we're starting to see that impact their perspective in general, where we have expectations of the world around them, that things would be frictionless and seamless and instantaneous, really immediate, because they have access to some of this technology. Their expectations are maybe a bit higher around how that gets delivered to them.
When did the shift happen where people and businesses realized, okay, we don't need to worry about millennials anymore. We need to be looking at Gen Z?
Yeah, I remember, so maybe 8 years ago, I remember the conversation was very heavy on millennials. What are millennials doing? Millennial market share, that kind of thing. I think Gen Z has been a conversation for about the last 4 years, where there's been a significant shift in emphasis around trying to understand this group.
And why is it important to understand this group?
So as clients age, we need to understand what's the next generation coming up and what are their expectations so that we can create our client experience or our marketing in a way that is compelling to them to capture their dollars. And it's just a matter of we have a new group that's entering the workforce and has a higher market power with the dollars that they're starting to have. And even before they enter the marketplace, right, they or the workforce, they have discretionary income already. So it's a matter of understanding what they want and starting to get our experiences tailored to them so that when they really start their first jobs, we're not playing catch up to say, okay, think of us as a relevant business to earn your dollars. It's a matter of getting organized before that happens.
Interesting. How can learning about Gen Z and their habits make experiences better for all of us as shoppers, online banking, paying a power bill? I'm wondering just how you might speak to that. Like, we're all consumers in one way or another. We're humans, but we're humans who consume. And so how does paying attention to the habits of Gen Z apply to all of us as we order an Uber, skip the dishes, whatever it may be?
Yeah, I think the thing that comes up for me when you ask that question is cognitive load. So as humans, we have a finite amount of cognitive resources. We just can't pay attention to absolutely everything. So we make choices around, okay, what are we actually going to think about and put through our cognition and really analyze in kind of a cost benefit way and pick the option with the most utility. And then we have a way of making decisions which is more automatic. We rely on emotions or context or cognitive biases to help us make decisions and navigate the world around us. So when we think about designing products and experiences for Gen Z, if the goal is to reduce friction and make it a more seamless experience, that in theory should open up cognitive resources to be able to put elsewhere. So that benefits us all, right? If we design products and experiences in the world around us in a way that's more frictionless for Gen Z, that benefits us all, where we're all ideally opening up some cognitive resources to put elsewhere. There's a flip side to that, right? Like AI is a great case example, right? Where we're saying, okay, we can delegate some of our thinking and work to AI, and that should free up time and resources and cognition and cognitive effort to place elsewhere. But it's a double-edged sword where we don't want to delegate so much that we lose our critical thinking skills and we don't have the ability to reason through things on our own. So it's something that I think we need to be a little bit careful about as well.
What stood out to you in that session, bringing younger people and older people together to just talk?
Yeah, it was like one of the things that really stands out to me is we talk a lot about how different Gen Z is and like what a new generation, and we can't understand them. The thing that stood out to me is actually how similar, like, human behavior is human behavior, and the articulation is really different, and we know that context really shapes behavior. And so as the context and the world around us changes, and it does certainly from generation to generation, behavior is going to shift. The other thing that really stood out to me is hyperbolic discounting. So this is the cognitive bias where we really value what's in front of us versus what's down the road. So if you ask someone like, do you want $10 today or $30 in a year? Most people pick the $10 today. It would benefit us more to wait, but we have a higher value on the now. So even asking some of the youth participants about, what are your common concerns? What's going on for you? What are your biggest worries? Or what's your thing that you're most excited about? It's all really immediate stuff. We heard about, I'm really worried about my tests in a few weeks. I'm really worried about my sport tournament kind of at the end of the month. And it's not really, like, I thought there might be more concerns about state of the world in 10 years, that kind of thing. But we really see this hyperbolic discounting of we're really concerned about what's in front of us. Not to say that we don't have these long-term concerns or we're not forward thinking, but we have a disproportionate value on the immediate, and a lot of our behavior goes towards navigating what's right in front of us at the time.
What's the bottom line that you try to get across to companies as they wrestle with how to serve a younger demographic?
We would essentially say, okay, there's two levers of behavior. There's either barriers or there's benefits. So if we think of the younger audience, we need to think about what barriers exist for them to do the behavior that we're looking to impact. So this is all around friction, right? So we talked about that seamless experience. So there's logistical friction, like are there too many steps in the process that you're trying to get the younger generation to do? But then there's also psychological friction. So is it unclear or missing information or creating cognitive overwhelm because there's too many options? Does it take too much time? I think with Gen Z, the thing is the expectations have been set by these tech houses that have so much capital that they can invest in creating a very seamless experience. So Amazon is a great example. You have a product purchased within kind of 1 to 2 clicks. Or social media, you're serving up relevant suggestions. And we see even if there's like a lag time in loading, the consumer is off the platform, and that patience with a non-seamless experience is way lower in the younger generation. So then if we go into, let's say, the banking industry, and we're trying to get a young person to set up a bank account, and it's, come into the branch and spend an hour talking to us and finding these different documents and giving them to us, like, no way do we have a consumer that has the patience to do that. They're just going to drop us and then go to a platform like a fintech that has a more seamless experience, or signing up for a driver's license, or getting their first apartment, or getting insurance, like university enrollment, right? They are conditioned to just exit organization or a product if it's taking too long and go to the next thing.
Going out like to fancy places.
At the conference, the conversations wrap up. The 15 to 20-year-olds have to go. They've got things to do, jobs to work, sports to play, homework to complete. Everyone else is left to contemplate what they've heard.
She viewed email like we view fax machines. Why would we do that? And we used to have this whole industry around email marketing, and we had a whole analytics around that, which is, I think, going to be totally irrelevant pretty quick.
Email marketing campaigns? Yeah, no. Time to think of something else. And really, won't that be better for all of us? I know I don't want any more emails. I'm Leisha Grabinski. Thanks to the organizers of X Camp for inviting me and my microphone. If you like what you've heard, share this episode with a friend. We drop new episodes Wednesdays and Fridays. We'll talk again soon.